Guys One Cup!
It is Monday, the 13th of April. Everyone relax. This is Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL adjacent podcast. My name is Charlie Clausen, and I am joined today by fellow Saints tragic Matt Stewart, part of our Saints. What's our Saints chat called these days? The Saints therapy session or something?
Something about therapy, yeah.
Therapy. It changes, like, everyone's an admin on our Saints chat, and it just changes periodically depending on how bad we're feeling. It is much like a therapy session sometimes. I've taken a lot of solace from you guys. You know, all these there's people in the chat I've never met. Like, they've just been added by you or me or someone else, that they're all around the world, and we all share in the same misery of being Saints supporters.
It is really helpful to have. I think it's why I like listening to Unplugged podcasts as well. And this podcast, because it's like, it's hard during a tough week to hear people who don't give a shit talking about the Saints.
Yeah. And we get this shit kicked out of us constantly. And like, I think you and I this year have been equally shocked by how much the mainstream media, like, I'm going to go on around, I'm going to sound like a real cooker here, but the mainstream media, the lamestream media, how much vitriol there's been for St Kilda, how eager people are for this experiment, this idea of bringing in some high-priced recruits, how eager people are for that to crash and burn. I just don't understand how anyone can hate us. Like,
I know.
Done?
It's just like, they're kicking down, not even punching down. They're kicking down. We're down low. You can't punch this low.
Yeah, but there's only so many rungs on a ladder. We're hanging on to the last one, and you're stomping on our fingertips. You're wanting us to fall.
It really has the feel of they think we're getting a bit uppity.
Yes.
It's like, we're trying to get ahead of our station kind of thing. That's what it feels like. And they're going, how dare you?
I think it does sort of come back to that. It's a very Australian thing, isn't it? The way we like our sporting heroes. They, the example is always like, they like, Mark Taylor. He's the epitome of what we like our.
We like him tubby.
We like him tubby, and just like a bloke you could have a beer with.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, we also seem to like the Hawthorns of the world, who walk around with a strut. Richmond when they're up and about. Like, I don't know, but I do think that, like, it's easy to pick on us because we have had, and no one knows this more than St Kilda supporters. This is the thing that sort of blows my mind, is when, like, you check the comments and it's already like, it's always like 27 wooden spoons, or you guys haven't won anything, or one flag and 100. And it's like, we're well aware of that. Yeah. If anything, we should be admired for our resilience.
100%. I really feel like supporters should be respected on an inverse to how the clubs are.
Yes.
Like, it's easy to go for Hawthorn. Like, how are you proud of being a Hawthorn supporter? You watch a good team. That's easy.
Yeah.
Saint supporters, I reckon, are at the top of the ladder in terms of whatever qualities a supporter has. It's harder for us, which makes us better.
Yes. So in case you haven't figured it out, listeners, you're going to get a lot of very biased Saints chat. But I've held off. You're the first Saints supporter I've had on. I've been rotating, guest host to start the season, and I really was nervous watching the game yesterday. Like, I can't. What this club has done to me, my psyche, my sense of self-worth, like, I can't actually enjoy. Like, I feel like I'm stuck in this trap where I support the club and I'm going to get my membership every year and I'm going to watch, but I don't enjoy it. Like, my favorite thing to do is actually start with, like, I won't sit and watch the game live. I'll give it about a 45-minute buffer, and then I'll sit down and watch. And then, like, that way I can skip through the opposition getting the ball, And if I feel like things are getting too scary, I can fast forward. But I like, even yesterday, we started really well. First quarter I think I've seen us play all season. And then the second quarter, you could see Port starting to getting the game together, starting to win some contests. And then that third quarter, you and I were like texting, and I was in agony. Yeah. Like, I was so stressed out. I was like, God damn it. Like, don't do this to me.
Yeah,
don't do this to me, St Kilda.
Before. And did you see someone put together a ladder? It might have got shared in our chat that the ladder, if it was just first halves, and the ladder if it was... So,
yeah, we're 8th, is that right? 8th
Yeah,
for
we
first halves?
first halves we're in contention. Second halves we're
16th.
wooden spoon contention, and it just went that way again.
And I don't
Oh,
understand that. I don't understand what our fade outs are about, whether it's a fitness thing. Look, I know everyone comes in biased off the preseason, everyone's running PBs and the 3K time trial and stuff. But I
fittest we've ever
thought
been.
our game plan was built off athletes like the
Mm.
Darcy Wilson types. Like, we're going to be runners, we've got Brad Hill, we've got Darcy Wilson, we've got these endurance athletes. We look so tired. It gets to like the halfway through the third quarter and we just look cooked every game this season.
I wonder if it feels like it's got to be partially a mental thing, and the more it happens, the more you're afraid it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the opposite of what Collingwood was doing a couple of years ago,
Well, it's
where it
what
was
Carlton
like,
is stuck in at the moment.
yes, yeah, they're in it worse than us because well, at least we've held on twice for our
Yeah.
2 wins.
But
So there might be
I
some
think
belief building.
Carlton's fade outs does like, it's definitely mental, but I think it does come a lot from the style of game they play, which is that heavily contested, like that bash and crash kind of football, which is apparently outdated. And I thought our coaches knew that. I thought that we were moving towards that more transition handball game. That like,
Well, our team is sort of majority ex-Carlton, isn't it? So maybe we've got a bit of that in our DNA.
yeah, maybe. But it is frustrating because, to go back to the media for a second, the lamestream media, because I sort of feel like we are being judged on this year alone. It's like, okay, you've taken this big gamble, and if it doesn't pay off in this 12 months, then it's been a huge disaster.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any other team where they they do a big reshuffle, and like, we've cleared out. If you look at our last 3 or 4 years in terms of the list that we had when Ross first took over to where it is now, it's almost like I think it's like a 75% turnover. And so
Yeah.
we have brought in some new guys to stabilize, because we needed, where we were lacking was that sort of mid-tier, mature age players. Like, we had a bunch of promising kids. We had some reliable older heads, but we didn't have many of those mid-tier, kind of, which we've brought in. But the expectation is like, well, you've got to be
Instant.
gelling straight away.
Yeah, which just doesn't happen. Like this team's never played together before.
It'd happen if they were
take some
Hawthorn.
time.
If it was Hawthorn.
Yeah, that would happen almost instantly.
Instantly, or Collingwood or Brisbane.
yeah. I think that's the thing. If we did, and I mean, obviously we won't, because but if we did win a premiership, I think the media.
It's so sad that you have to put that little qualifier on it, but you're so right.
But if we did, I think the media would very quickly, like they would very quickly be like, yeah, it was all genius. There's no accountability for them. They'll change their opinions on a dime. I reckon, like Geelong was seen for so long as being, chokers in grand finals and an almost team. And that is entirely gone now. They've turned their reputation around completely.
So what do you reckon? We often talk about the wilderness of post Ross Lyon Mark 1, going to the Scott Watters era, then Richo, like Brett Ratton. I mean, there was so much, like Seaford, like it was basically just a decade of lost momentum. Like, not that I think that, Ross necessarily could have rebuilt on the run, but, coming out of one of our most successful eras without ever winning a flag, we had that kind of broken-hearted season, 2011, where the players just looked absolutely psychologically cooked. Maybe we could have done like a mini rebuild, auctioned off a few of those players and kept, if we'd kept Ross, but everything went to shit. And we did what North Melbourne have done, which is we did sort of like a fire sale almost. We got rid of Del Santo and Goddard. We kept Revolt, but then we went to the draft, Billings, Petrarca, and we tried that draft rebuild.
Which reality we live in?
Oh, sorry. I mean, not Petrarca. We got McCartan.
Man, I'm like, whoa.
We got Petrarca?
Do we got Petrarca? Oh my God. This is the best case scenario for Mandela effect I've ever had. I remember it entirely
I
differently.
got some bad news. He's playing for Gold Coast now. I mean, because people often do say, oh God, imagine if you'd got Bont instead of Billings. I'm sure in that era that we were in, we would have somehow found a way to ruin the greatest modern player ever.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
we would have been, it would have gone the other way around,
we
right?
would
They
have
would have
played him on
got
the
Billings,
wing or
and
something.
Billings would now be a world beater.
Yeah,
And everyone's
that's
going, oh, you pass over Billings? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just.
Bont would be playing for, just see Billings yesterday kicking a goal for, I just saw some of the
Is
highlights.
it Casey or someone? No.
Oh, well, yeah, he was in the rep game, the VFL rep game versus.
They're already playing rep competition.
I
Like,
think it must have been maybe part of gather round.
oh, okay, right.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, he looks good. He
Yeah,
looks good, but
he's
yeah,
a good VFL player.
yeah. I really thought, I just kept thinking it's gonna turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I wouldn't be surprised in an alternative reality that he got picked up by someone else and was a star.
I always felt Billings. My comparative player was always like Sean Higgins. Sean Higgins was a great kind of like icing player. You know, classy, made the right decisions. You know, could pop up for a couple goals a game or whatever.
Yeah,
But you needed to have a bunch of grunt players around him. And I think Jack's other thing too was he wasn't like an alpha leader. Like he wasn't sort of like Bont's an alpha, but in a kind of more relaxed way. But you know, he's got a certain
he's got
like
a presence.
aura.
And I
around
think
him.
also he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Which maybe makes it easy to be an on-field leader.
I mean, what was Jack Billings' standout game? It was the 5 goals against the Dogs
Yeah,
where we won
the
the big
huge
comeback
comeback.
game. That was it, right? And he
Yeah.
played 150 games.
Yeah. And he
Welcome
was
to
like,
the Jack Billings podcast.
if he was picked at
We're
number
going
50,
to review every one of Jack Billings' games, stats-wise. Oh, my God. Do you reckon we could launch a Jack Billings dedicated podcast?
I think we could. I think we'd be the only listeners from inside the pod, but and the editor if we had one, if they could sit through it.
Yeah.
And the goal is to get Jack on one day.
Yeah.
And he agrees to come on like in the second week and we wrap up. That could be how it goes.
I'm not sure if you
we could get
remember,
him?
but there was an era in the kind of like late teens, I think around 2017, where the club was trying really hard to push Jack front and center. Like he was the guy advertising the Shanghai trip, and they did a podcast. It was Jaron Geary, Jack Billings, and Seb Ross. And I listened to about 3 episodes and I'm like, this is excruciating. Like, and I've met like Jaron before, and he's quite personal. He's actually quite chatty. Like he's not a bad media performer. But Jack Billings, oh boy, like he just was never designed to be the leader or the captain or whatever.
Right.
I think he was always meant to be an icing player.
They are kind of the three. They just about be the poster for that lost decade. 3 really good players who,
Well, I mean,
really good.
I mean, good. Let's be honest. Well, it was very lean pickings for Saints fans.
I think if you put any of them into a better team at the time, like you're saying, then I think they would have better reputations now. I mean, Seb he won a couple of best and fairest.
2 best and fairest.
Yeah, we're in a pretty dire period. And Geary was a great leader.
He was a great leader.
Just a real body on the line. I mean, that finals win we did have under Ratton, he played such a role. Remember we went forward?
Yeah. Against GWS.
Yeah. Is that right? Was it the Bulldogs?
Oh yeah, it was the Bulldogs. That's right. Sorry, yeah. No, we beat GWS to get into the.
That's
or I'm getting confused.
I think that's right.
I remember because Jack Steele, poor Jack Steele celebrating that goal that got us into the finals. Do you how are you feeling about the Jack Steele?
I'm glad he's going well. I'm stoked for him. Not shattered that Melbourne lost this week.
I took so much pleasure in that. Much more than it surprised me how much I enjoyed seeing them lose to the Bombers. I think they were getting such a glazing in the media, and like again, we're copping we've been copping strays from everyone. Like there was Peter, what's Malinaskis or what is that? The Premier of South Australia talking about why it can't go to Sydney because who's going to go to see Saints and
Yes,
Freo and then
Wait.
Andrew Pridham saying, will Saints only get, like, boy, just leave us alone. What's going on?
Yeah, and I think the media's especially loving Steele's year because they are like, oh, and they just basically gave this guy away. They're hopeless. I reckon. Do you reckon it all comes down to Bassett speaking up a little bit about
Definitely.
fairness? It
Yeah,
feels
look,
like
I
that's
think
what all it is.
well, I think there's a couple of things. I think Ross Lyon, I imagine,
yeah.
if you are not a Saints
Yeah,
supporter,
yeah.
it would be incredibly irritating. The same things that kind of amuse us, I think, for like, you know, I had Marty Vinyl on the show a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, there's certain, she didn't say it explicitly, but she said there's certain coaches which are like, oh, God, I've got to go to his
Yeah,
press
yeah.
conference. And I know that she was talking about him. But
yeah,
I think there's
he's
that
not that
factor.
cuddly. He's
No,
not
he's not
as
that
cuddly.
cuddly. There's also
It's
that
really
kind
like
of,
if he'll go. I was just watched last night's press conference just before we started recording, and if it's a question he doesn't like, you know how so many questions in those post game presses are not questions; they're a statement, and it's just like, can you keep talking about this? If he likes the question and wants to talk about it, it'll be fine. But if it's he'll go, what's the question? That's not a question. It's like, that's they're all delivered like that. But if you don't want to talk about it.
Or he'll ask the question back to them. They'll say, like, you know, Hugo Garcia had a good game. Did he? What were his stats?
Yeah. But it was funny. Someone asked him about Jack, and he's like, Jack, which was incredible.
Right. We've got 3 Jacks.
He's like, which Jack? We have a lot of Jacks.
So I think there's that element. I think there's definitely the Bassett element. And then I think there is this idea, like if you're a Carlton supporter, you would hate St Kilda right now. Like, you know,
true.
Because apparently, and I don't know how true the reporting is, but TDK halfway through last year went to Carlton and was like, hey, look, if you can get anywhere close to what they're offering me, then I'd rather stay. But, you know, you're not going to turn that down. So I think there is this, I think we do put a target on our back because, you know, it's like Charlie Brown all of a sudden, you know, walking in with a leather jacket and a cool haircut and trying to like pretend like he's something that he's not.
You're not fooling anyone.
You're not fooling anyone,
like,
St Kilda.
Come on, mate. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to, you know, move to a new town, you know, Charlie Brown.
This is how scarred I am as a Saints supporter. And I promise we'll talk about some of the games soon, but let's let Matt and I get this off our chest. We've been trying to have this conversation for a while. But this is how scarred I am as a Saints supporter. I remember in 2009, that season where we only lost, like, was it 2 games for the entire year?
Well, 3 if you count the last one.
What? Oh,
3
yeah,
if you count the last one.
But it'd get to round 17, we still hadn't lost a game. And I remember seeing a comment on Big Footy, which just burrowed into my brain, where someone said, can you see the Saints going undefeated this whole season and then losing the grand final? And then all those people saying, yeah, of course, they're St Kilda. And I got so incensed when I read that. And I was like, we still don't get any respect. We haven't even lost it. Sure enough.
And then,
like, it's scarring. It's scarring.
And none of the losses were more than like 2 and a bit goals, I think.
Yeah, it's like Essendon and North Melbourne, right? Like, both by less than 10 points.
And then the grand final, which, you know, should have only been a goal, or 5 points, whatever. And then whoever kicked that,
Rook,
because he had money
Matt
on it
Rook.
Or something. His mates had money on him kicking a goal.
Oh, did
or
they?
Something. So he's like, I gotta line up and kick it, even though we've just won the grand final. And we were so shattered, we didn't even have anyone on the mark of the goal square, and he just dribbled it through from memory. I'll never watch it back, but that's how I remember it. I was sitting behind those goals. Oh,
yeah.
Maybe Rook, someone like that.
Matthew Rook, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who I think is now part of that class action for the AFL swing for concussion. I think there's quite a few players. He was a tough in and under type player.
It's so funny. You were saying how we built in these things to protect ourselves. Like you'll watch on a slight delay, so you can control time, basically.
Totally.
It's so funny. You know, you've met my cousin Rhino a few times. He's in the chat, and he after it's a comedy festival at the moment. He came to my show the other night, and we were talking to some other guys who aren't Saints supporters, and they asked him about the Saints, and he goes, it's funny. I can't remember caring less about it. I'm basically I'm still follow it, but I don't really. It's not hurting me emotionally anymore. Like, but he's so clearly he's trying to talk it into reality, but
Yeah.
it's not true because within 5 minutes he was ranting. he was he was ranting about how the media portray us and. I just loved how he seemed to believe what he was saying, but it was everyone
lying
else
to
at the
himself.
table's like, mate, you are lying to yourself. You're bleeding in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
This,
But he's right. He's right, Matt.
Yeah.
Because on Thursday night, was it Thursday night, Friday night, that Collingwood game where Collingwood played the most dour, defensive structure, defensive structure game plan. And I was like, oh God, this is like the kind of game we play when we don't have any good players on the field. And then I read the next day, it's like brave, gallant Collingwood, up against it. And it's like, how the fuck did they get away with that when we do it? And by the way, it's not even just us. You watch any game where they like a Richmond game or a West Coast game, they will put numbers back. They'll put numbers back when they can, and somehow it's exclusively like a St Kilda issue.
Yeah, we ruined football.
And that was part of the narrative around Melbourne that was shitting me as well, is they were like, oh, Melbourne are playing a great brand of football and it's exciting. Everyone loves it and everyone wants to watch it. And it's just like, no one ever says that about us.
We were in that same game. It was a shootout.
And no one said that we were playing an exciting brand of football then. It was like, oh, St Kilda got sucked into some kind of trap, playing a game that they don't know how to play.
Yes. But look, I'm feeling good. It was kind of the opposite of some other games we played this year, where we had far fewer inside 50s, but we were just really efficient. I think we scored over 50% of entries.
Yes.
Which is, and some of them we weren't even entering, like Filippo kicking it from 55 on the run. I think
it was almost like the reverse of round one, opening round loss to Collingwood, where we had 20 more inside 50s, but just couldn't. Whereas this time we were doing really well. Like, I think Filippo should stay at half forward. Or if he's going to go in the midfield, just do it in burst, because he's big. He's kind of almost like a key forward size. He loves having a big, like he had kicked 2, but had 5 shots on goal. Could have had a massive night. But I want to know why we stopped running in the second half. Like we had so much dare and we're taking the game on, and then something happens where we just want to preserve a lead.
You thinking that's instruction, or is that
the players crapping themselves? I don't know.
Assume it's got to be instruction. I mean, in the press conference, Lyon said there was, it was good to get the win, but we got to improve in a lot of areas. You feel like that's got to be one of them. We can't just park the bus. It really feels like that's, I don't know, the go-to strategy.
Oh my
we
God.
shit ourselves. I'm not sure.
If I could see us, like it was just like Groundhog Day for a quarter and a half, where it was like Wilkie or Jay Sauce like saves our bacon by taking a contested mark.
Geez, they were both great.
Then it's a long kick down the line, intercepted by O'Leary. Even though we know that Mitch Owens is undersized, they kept going long down the line. O'Leary intercepts, and then they go back through the corridor, and it's like, why aren't we going back through the corridor? Like, how come like our contested intercept marks, we're not going back through the corridor? Why are we so timid? And I don't know if it's a fitness thing or what.
Yeah. I just hope, and I remember this period, maybe it was like early Grant Thomas era, that we, I just remember we kept getting into like winning positions and we'd get overrun at the end, and it felt like it was in part just hadn't really figured out how to win yet, which is a weird thing that I believe is a real thing, even though it sounds like it's nonsense. And then once you start getting a few wins on, then you'll see, hopefully, that we actually go for the jugular. We get 5 goals up, we should be running away with it.
Yeah. And also just the way, like, the energy it gives to the players. Like, it's not just our team. Like admittedly, as much as, I did enjoy Melbourne's loss, like they have been fun to watch. And it
They
is a
yeah.
lot to do with, I think, Cozzy and Latrell, that just kind of insane amount of speed that those two players have. And you just kind of know when they get the ball, something exciting is going to
Yeah.
happen.
I
And
I really do like the Demons, but yeah, I think in part it was also just nice for the Bombers to have a win because that was getting pretty grim.
it was getting grim.
When your coach is saying we're all going to die one day.
Like there's worse things in life. I'm going to die some pro. Yeah, but even then, like, footy's funny, isn't it? Like, we're so quick to, write teams off or judge a season based on like a small sample size. But if you didn't know anything about the first 4 rounds and you had watched that game, you'd think, oh, Essendon's filled with all these exciting, like Nate Caddy and is it Isaac Kako and all these
Archie Roberts.
Archie Roberts, like they've got all these exciting young players who were playing like Melbourne had been playing the previous 3 weeks. And look, I'm not quite. I'm actually getting over my Carltonophobia. I'm starting to sort of like, I'm getting to know more and more Carlton fans. I'm starting to develop a bit of empathy for Carlton.
I'm from a split family, so I've always had that. I'm a rare Saints supporter who has a soft spot for the Blues.
Yeah, right. Well, I haven't
Mum.
quite got that for Essendon yet, just because they terrorised us for so many years, and Essendon's one of those teams a bit like Port, where no matter what time of the year we played them, I feel like, or where we're on the ladder, they could beat us. They just have that knack of beating us.
It was a game it was in the Ratton era, and it was a really important game for us, and we were on a roll, and they were battling, and they flogged us. They flogged us, and it just came out of nowhere. But I mean, it came out of nowhere seemingly, but we were all like, "Fucking Essendon! I should have known."
It's happened. It snuck up on me a little bit though. Like I know it's been in the press a lot this year, but just how bad Essendon have become. I actually found a YouTube video that was like, "How did Essendon get to this point?" And it sort of charts it from 2000, and then the sort of decisions and the recruiting strategies and stuff that led to this point. And you talk about slow motion car crashes, and it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't take much. Well, it doesn't take much, but it takes a long period of time of just the incrementally bad decisions, and then one cataclysmically bad decision in the supplement saga to completely destroy what was once this kind of giant proud club. And I don't know if I'm getting more parochial towards being like Victorian because of how well like the Queensland teams are doing.
And you're from the outside looking in, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, living in the Northern Rivers, New South Wales is still very much a rugby. It's like a league area that I'm in, so it's not like there's a lot of AFL banter happening just on the street or whatever. But I do feel like a bit of like I want Victoria. Let's gather around in Victoria next year.
Yeah, Victoria could use the boost.
Do I sound like one of those guys who's like, "Oh, when's International Men's Day?"
That's you're right on the edge of that, I think.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that those two clubs, Carlton and Essendon, were dominant like all the way up to the start and into the AFL era. But they both got punished for doing a bit of a crime, just a bit of light crime.
Yeah.
The drug saga and the Blues had the paper bag.
Yeah.
Payments, the salary cap stuff, and neither of them have really recovered since, I don't think. Yeah,
well, it's weird, right?
Like, what was our thing? We did something in 1894, I think.
Right. I said we had 4 bottles of barrels of rum that we kept under the grandstand. How do you feel about? So, I've got a soft spot for Freo. Do you?
Yeah, I like Freo.
Do you? I feel like they're
our
St
cousins
Kilda
in the
of
West.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. St Kilda of the West. So are you all aboard? Like, I mean, I was so happy to see them beat the Pies in that awful Ross Lyon-esque game, 45-39. But would you be happy to see them win a flag before us?
Yeah, I would be, and then I'll probably dislike them the next year.
Yeah,
but
once they get past,
I'll be like, all right, you've had a go. That's enough. Similar to
the Bulldogs.
Well, I mean, I remember going for the Tigers in that first premiership, but I got pretty sick of them soon after, you know.
Well, the whole premise of Two Guys, One Cup, Will and I started this show because we both barracked for teams that had one flag each. And in the very first year of doing this podcast, the Dogs win the second flag. So I've got to sit here over the last 10 years and watch Will have predominantly good time, you know, at least two grand finals he's got to enjoy since we've been doing this podcast.
He's had Bont. You know, that's the sliding doors. It's been the Bont era.
Yeah, it's been the Bont era, but it's also the father-son era for them. Like you look
totally, yeah.
You know, the Darcys and Riley West, they've just Libba, like they've just done so well out of that, and that's what's held us back. And then Geelong too, like you sort of forget, like Geelong's, you know, start of their dynasty in the 2000s was built a lot off the back of Ablett, Scarlett, all these kind of father sons.
And we were coming up together at the time. It felt like,
yeah, exactly.
Which is
it was
so
that 2004 Wizard Cup where we won. Right. And it was like St Kilda and Geelong, they're the two up-and-coming teams. Yeah. And I was like, oh, the Wizard Cup, that's going to dictate the next 10 years.
Man, I'd do anything for a Wizard Cup.
Oh, my God. It'd be so great. Have you been to, when was the last time you went to Moorabbin?
I went to an AFLW last season.
What do you think about them displaying that solo premiership cup in the window overlooking the field? I think it's more of a horrible reminder.
Yeah,
like
casts a big shadow, doesn't it?
It?
Oh man, I remember. Do you remember the '97 grand final in the lead up? The 66 players were like, we're so looking forward to passing on the baton. And you're like, it's crazy how long ago. I mean, that's another 30 years. That was about halfway through the drought now, looking back.
60 years.
And there's not going to be any left to pass on the baton, I don't think.
No, but that's we get to write our own. We get to write our own history.
Maybe the baton's been passed on from the Wizard Cup winners.
Now, Matt, I'm not sure if you're a bigger fan of Chris Fagan as I am. In fact, I have to be careful because I
love your version of Chris Fagan.
Oh, Gil from The Simpsons. Oh, geez. Oh, no. He just continues to, like, every week when I do the highlights, you know, to upload to social media of this show, it's been Chris Fagan content. And I think it's going to be that again. There was just a moment before the North game where he was doing an on-ground interview with Burgoyne, Jordan Lewis, where just watch this. He finishes the interview and then he just... Well, I'll let the clip do the talking, then we can talk about it afterwards.
Best of luck, a huge game, and we look forward to watching the Brisbane Lions in action. Chris Fagan, the coach of the Brisbane Lions, and as you touched on, Geordie, they're building...
Inside the camera.
So Chris Fagan, after completing the interview, hands the microphone off, walks off screen, and then walks back, crosses camera, his giant head taking up full frame.
His energy was so funny anyway before that. That was just a beautiful, it's like an Alan Partridge clip, you know? That's so great. Also, and he's so little compared to the others. I didn't realize he's such a little fella.
You know,
I guess they're all probably quite tall.
It was a very famous Tasmanian footballer. Like we did it. Right. We found a pocket profile of his that someone sent us. Oh my God! So he was I think a legendary kind of Tasmanian footballing figure, like player coach, coached a couple of flags. I think his favorite, like so wholesome, like his favorite drink was milk or something like that. You know,
that's awesome.
I mean, that is what I aspire Ross Lyon to become. I just don't know if Ross has enough of that. I know he's cuddly Ross now, but I don't know that people, if Chris Fagan is the competition's kindly grandfather, then I think Ross Lyon is the sarcastic uncle.
Yeah, he's got big uncle energy, doesn't he?
Yeah. The uncle who grabs the mic at the 21st and tells a story
he's
that no one wants
from
to
the
hear.
Back. Totally, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's interesting because the closest he got to being a bit nasty, Fagan, he also had a go at us.
Yeah.
But I guess that was him probably bouncing back some of what he would see as attacks from Bassett on their academy.
Well, I think it's because
father-sons.
Zach Bailey is getting massive offers from Melbourne at the moment. And look, in isolation, I don't, like, he's right. Like, Naz's deal has now changed the market. And so, they're talking about Zach Butters getting 2 mil. Dacos will get that on when he next negotiates. Or if he goes to Tassie, he'll get even more. So that is correct. The bit that sort of felt a bit unfair was him talking about like Naz is not worth that. And I was like,
he said
isn't it widely
something-
accepted that Naz is like a top 5 player in the
Yeah,
competition?
yeah. He said something like that Naz might get there and that TDK
Has not.
basically read between the lines is like he's just not worth that. Which
Yeah,
and
but I
that's when
think-
Lion sort of goes and he said something like, I think, if you look back, I've never said anything negative about a specific player from another team.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, I find that surprising, but yeah, probably maybe.
No, I'm sure he has.
yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's also like the TDK thing is, I don't think anyone thinks TDK is worth 1.7 million, but that's not the point. The point is we couldn't land anyone on the offers we were making for the LDU.
And it's like
or
you said,
Jordan
he wouldn't have
Goey.
come otherwise.
Yeah, it's the Saints tax. Like
he
we
wanted
had
to stay. Yeah.
we had to get him across. And, this idea, look, he definitely has to deliver, right? Like, we want him to be playing well, but I think he's been
Yeah, I was
fine.
going to say, I reckon he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
He's never going to be a $1.7 million player, but he's been, for what we were expecting, I think he's delivered. I mean, I
Yeah.
would have liked him kick a few goals, like he's been a bit wayward.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think it feels like he's all in,
Yeah. How do you feel about the Swans? Are you do you like the Swans?
I mean, they're another team. I remember that when they broke the drought, I was stoked.
Yep.
Um,
No dickheads policy. Paul
yeah,
Roos,
the
all that.
Bloods,
I like
Kirk
that.
and all
I like that
yeah.
era.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got a weird history with them because they
Keep
have
taking our
pinched
key
a
forwards.
lot of our key forwards, and then and Craig O'Brien as well.
Yes,
And,
Craig O'Brien.
but yeah, no, I've always
They
quite
took Jason
liked them.
Daniels and then they gave him back.
That's right. Oh, I love Jason Daniels. He's probably like the archetypal. He was ahead of the trend of being an athlete who has no skills.
Oh,
like
yeah, he was the worst kick.
just a real bad
shocking.
kick, but just a great athlete who could get the ball.
I remember after we lost the 97 grand final, I bumped into Michael Chamberlain outside the MCG, and he, in typical Hawthorn supporter fashion, was like, you're never going to win a flag with a player like Jason Daniels in your team. It's like, mate, they just lost.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He was still there in 97. Oh,
Yep.
that's
He came
oh,
back,
that's
I think,
awesome.
in 97.
Yeah, he did come back. And we were happy to have him back.
Happy to have
Yeah,
him
that is
back.
fun. Oh, the Hawthorn supporters. I can't remember. It might have been him or there was someone like him anyway who
We're all
brought.
the same. Hawthorn
Yeah.
supporters.
There was their first when they broke their drought of about 13 years. They brought a bottle of champagne to the game with them. They were the underdogs going into it, but they were like, "I'll need this for the win." Obviously,
Oh, my God.
imagine that.
The
Imagine.
confidence. Just the confidence.
If we ever make it again, I've said this whenever it comes up, I'm bringing my passport. If we ever make the grand final, I'm bringing the passport. And I'm like, I'll tell my friends and family, I don't know if we win, I'll get in contact as soon as I can, but I don't know where I'll be. I'm just going to go with the flow. If that takes me overseas, so be it.
Your parents get a call, you're on some barge
Yeah, that's
to South America. I don't know what happened.
I don't know, but I think this
Jack
means
Higgins
we
is
won.
here, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a bit scared of Sydney. I think they absolutely like pumped. It was only 32 points in the end, but I think that they had their off year last year, and I made no secrets on this podcast. I don't like Sydney, and I used to love them. I lived in Sydney for 10 years. I would almost consider them a second team.
This is part of it, though, isn't it? You've
It's the
you've been the away
supporters.
supporter.
I can't stand the
at
supporters.
the SCG, yeah.
Like, and I know he listens to this, so he's probably going to hate this, but Adam Spencer texted me like after they beat Gold Coast. And he texted me and Will to say, even if I wasn't a Swan supporter, I think Tom Papley is the kind of player I'd love. And I
there
was
is.
like, well,
He's
here,
taking the
I'm
piss,
not a
obviously.
Swan supporter. And let me tell you, I can't stand him. I can't stand his celebrations. I can't
Yeah.
stand his little pesty qualities. There's nothing about him that I actually like.
Oh man, I wish he got his wish and was at Carlton. That would
Oh,
have.
can you imagine? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think yeah, he's got the vibe of a guy, Adam, that is, of a guy who's getting used to success. You know, he's
Well, they're all like that though, and
Yeah.
of course they are. They're like Geelong supporters. Like all
Yeah.
they have known is success.
and I'm very jealous.
I just feel
He's
like
so
though,
funny.
but
Whenever
with
he's on this show, he's such a funny guest, Adam Spencer.
yeah.
But is it hard for you? Because it's always coming off a big Sydney win.
Yeah.
And you're just having to sit there and.
Well, I mean, that's 90% of the guests I get on this show, like people whose teams are successful. But I think for the thing that grinds my gears about Sydney is that I am old enough to remember when Sydney were shit and was
the Ron
struggling to get like
Barassi era.
8,000 people to the SCG when Plugger was kicking torpedoes into the heads of the guys behind the goals. You know what I mean?
Happy
Like,
Mother's Day.
Happy
the
Mother's Day.
game? Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So,
was so good.
so I just feel like there is a younger generation of Swan supporters who have grown up only knowing success and that they don't really, and so their treatment of Saint supporters is really like, I just felt like we were, like, I feel like Dog supporters, Freo supporters, North supporters, even D's fans, even though they've got the flag, we all kind of, you know, we're smaller clubs, we've got each other's backs a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But then Swans were like us, and now they're like, it's like it's like that friend of yours who did a startup and is now a multimillionaire and just can't hang
Yeah.
out with you because he can only hang out with other multimillionaires.
Pulling up the ladder.
Yeah.
It's like that. There's like a stereotype of immigrants who,
Shut the door once they get in. Yeah.
second generation or even, they're voting One Nation going, yeah, we agree. It's like, well, hang on.
It's true. Like Sydney used to be the Bloods. It was working class culture. Like your
Shin Boners
team,
and the Bloods, they were
you're about
like on par.
You're about to fold. You're about to fold. You moved from South Melbourne. Don't forget
Yeah.
your roots. Like we're one of the teams that could fold any second now. So just be patient. We're trying to get there.
We might be up there playing a derby before long.
We might be the Darwin Saints.
I don't mind that. I mean, I don't want us to move, but it would certainly bring on our chances of winning a premiership if we went to a new market, you know.
I wouldn't have a problem with. I mean, the Gold Coast Saints I couldn't really stomach, but Northern Territory's a Aussie rules like zone. So if we became the Darwin Saints, I think I could get behind that.
It would be a very different, like going from under the roof to the wettest winters in
Hottest.
Australia. Yeah, hot, wet winters. I imagine they'd probably has to have a roof rule like they've done to Tassie.
Well, what's the big club in Northern Territory? Isn't it St Mary's?
St Mary's, yeah.
So there is a kind of St connection.
That's true.
Right?
And they're dominant, right? They win. They've
So,
always won everything.
I mean, if we'd gone to Tassie, I could have stomached that, but I just didn't want us to be the Gold Coast Saint.
I would have liked Tassie.
The Gold Coast St Kilda Kangaroos.
Yeah. I think Tassie, because we used to have such a great connect. Like a few of our stars from the Premiership
Ian Stewart,
era,
Daryl Baldock.
Baldock, yeah. Maybe Bernard Howe, was he?
One of my favourite Saints from the 80s, David Grant, was a Tasmanian.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell you that my aunties, I've got like, my dad's one of 13, and they're all, they all grew up in Moorabbin. And the aunties all went, there's like 7 or 8 of his sisters all went to this players' night back at Moorabbin.
Yeah.
And she got outbid, or did she win the bid to take down David Grant's boxer shorts with her teeth?
Oh my God. Because he was our hottest player.
He was our sort of Modra type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Damien Kitschke, when they brought in Elle McPherson as our number 1 ticket holder, she posed with Damien Kitschke and David Grant.
The only ones who wouldn't look like goblins next to her.
Exactly. Even though, like, they did do that part where they'll both they stood either side and they're kissing her on the cheek, and the look on her face is like, Jesus Christ, just get through this L. You can do it.
Yeah. But you can't really imagine official club functions having stuff like that going on anymore.
No, I think Will
That's
telling
like the
me
90s.
about a Bulldogs like fundraiser, preseason fundraiser. They did like it was before Magic Mike. It was like a full Monty themed like female supporters only, and the players all came out and did like a strip routine essentially. And I think it ended with like a baby elephant walk.
Yes,
Have you
I
heard
reckon
about
that's
this?
on the Year of the Dog.
Is it?
Maybe. I think it might be on that doco.
Yeah,
Because
right.
when you said that, I started thinking this elephant walk where they got their arm through their legs.
Yeah, is it holding the tackle of no? Isn't it, you're not holding the tackle of the player in front of you, holding their arms?
Like yeah,
Okay.
well,
Well,
I guess
I don't know.
their baby's arm.
I imagine it. I just think trunk's got to hold the trunk. I'm getting very confused.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good entertainment, good clean fun.
What did you make of Gather Round? I know you didn't catch a lot of games live, but as a whole, I watched like I'd say 75% of the games, and they were
Awesome.
all pretty crap. Like,
That's a shame.
I love Gather Round as a concept. The weather wasn't great, so
Yeah, geez, it was pissing down. Whenever I was, because it's in the middle of a comedy festival, I just didn't have a chance to.
Mm.
And it's a shame. I'd love to go over for it, but it seems like it's going to be scheduled at this time every year.
Yeah, and also like it's so expensive. Like Chambo
Right.
texted me, he was over there, he was doing a gig, and then I think Limo got him a ticket for the Hawks game on the Saturday night, so he changed his flight. I think it was close to $700 to get back one way from Adelaide to Melbourne. The same price you can get a
Yeah,
return airfare to Bali.
Yeah, Jesus. And then, I mean, you're thinking it. I was about to say you drive, but petrol is probably going to cost you about the same.
About the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and the accommodation, I imagine's skyrockets as well.
Yeah, so I've sort of said this year that I'm all aboard Flagmantle, definitely. If that can't happen, then I want to see the Bulldogs get back in there, and I want Bont to win the Brownlow.
Love the Bont, yep.
But the Hawks really touched up the Doggies on Saturday night.
I'm not ready for the Hawks.
No.
I'm not ready for the Hawks to be back.
I used to be okay, like in the last three-peat, or the three-peat of the teens. I was okay with Hawthorn being good. I just admired them. I just loved all those players. But it feels too soon. Like they don't. And it's also just the way. There's an arrogance to the way they play. Like they've got these players like Nick Watson and Jack Ginnivan, and you watched Access All Areas. Did you see Lloydie sort of like glazing their two ruckmen, who's just like, oh, they're both awesome. It's like we've got Royal Marshall and Tom de Koning. How come we don't have two awesome ruckmen?
Well, I mean, it just shows how they'll change their tune on that by the end of the year. He'll not reference that, and he'll be like, it's just not working, the two rucks. But he'll never reference that he said weeks ago that they are the best. It's the best thing that's ever happened to football. Because they still say, like, commentators will say it just can't work. You can't have two ruckmen.
I think it sort of helps that
Marshall go.
Tim English didn't play. I think that makes a difference. And the Dogs just looked a little tired. They've been up and about this year. They're undefeated going into that game. They just looked. You just got to sort of, I think, look at the footy season almost in, I don't know, like 4 chunks, 5 to 6 week chunks, whatever the math works out. Adam Spencer will correct me on.
He's yelling at his iPhone right now.
5.5 weeks, 5.5 week chunks. How many is it? 23 games, 25. I don't know.
Well, you got to count the buys in there, and
because I just think it is such a long season, and for St Kilda, we just need to hang in there. Like we just need to hang in, get to almost the halfway point of the season. If we're sort of on par halfway through, then we've got a bunch of games at Marvel. Like the back end of this season looks so much better. But it's also the way you evaluate the teams that you played. Like if you looked at the season before any games were played, you're like, okay, Collingwood's probably flipped the coin. Melbourne, we should win. GWS will probably lose that because it's away. Brisbane will probably lose that. Port Adelaide's a flip of the coin because, Yeah,
it's in Adelaide. How about that? I mean, that's the classic that's so St Kilda that where one of the two teams that actually plays the team with a home ground advantage in gather round.
Yeah. And we've done it 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah, I think, we seem to be spend a lot of time over there. I think we were there for 3 weeks in the first 5 rounds or something last year.
Yeah,
Something
it's
strange
insane.
like that.
Well, I noticed too that some players are staying and some are coming home, which is weird.
Oh, right.
as
Apparently,
well.
Higo Snags' I just see his post-game interview.
Yeah,
But remember last year he said, "Oh, I hate this place. I
Yeah.
just play Nintendo or whatever."
yeah,
Well, that's aged me out, whatever the new Nintendo is.
yeah.
And then
The Nintendo box, or whatever it's called.
and then this week he said, "Oh yeah, you got to visit the Lime Coast." I think he maybe has
He was
been sponsored or something.
Yeah. He was made an ambassador. There's a few players, him, Jeremy Cameron, a bunch of other players, and so
I
they
love it.
they were actually
He was a good
advertising it quite heavily, where they took him around to all these places in,
Oh, cool.
in South Australia.
He's so funny.
Yeah, had a terrible game, like for a 150. I think he said in one of the post-match interviews, he's probably the first guy to get 5 touches and get a post-game interview after the game.
yeah.
It would have thought too, it would have suited him, those kind of conditions, but he's actually had a pretty slow start to the year, Higo.
Mm. Yeah, he's still kicked a handful, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think of the jumpers?
Don't like that
a
one.
new jumper. Didn't like that one.
I think it was I think, sometimes like people get nostalgic over something that it's like it was shit. Like when Space Jam, like people started talking about Space Jam as if it was this like, oh, it's this classic from our youth. It's like Space Jam was never good. It was never good. It's still not good. Just because you feel affection for it. And I felt the same way about our S Guernsey. Everyone knows that photo of Banger on the beach wearing that grey t-shirt with the S thing. It was a very short-lived logo in the 90s that it doesn't have any significance to our club. Like
It's just that photo, I think.
It's just that photo. We didn't win it. We didn't even win the Wizard Cup. Wearing that
I like I really like the port one. I think there was some really good jumpers.
Oh, sorry. Were you talking about the gather round jumpers in general?
The Saints one in particular, but yeah. I think there were other good ones, but I do like that dominant red colour.
We've got the hot cross bun for that.
Yeah, that's true. But, they've already sold a bunch of those. They need a new one to sell.
Yeah.
It's got to be the only reason.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was reading about a study that teams wearing red do win more games.
Is that true?
Yeah, supposedly. I found this article on, what was it, on RTE. It says, analysis. Science suggests the color of a shirt can give teams a performance edge, with red kits leading to greater success.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, okay. I mean, let's just go all plain block red.
Yeah. Wasn't there a period in the 80s where we played in red shorts as well, I think?
I think so, yeah. The Bombers did. I remember that.
The Bombers inverse their colour scheme sometimes.
And they did this week and they won.
Oh, my God.
Okay, hang on.
Quick, call Ross Lyon. I'd like to see someone in the press conferences float that theory to Ross.
Yeah. Ross, do you think there's anything to the fact that you
Sorry,
wore a
can you
dominant
speak
red
up?
jumper?
You spoke up? So I didn't catch
Sorry,
that.
I was just saying, and you can hear them losing confidence.
Yeah.
It's such a power play.
So you think Red's going to contribute, do you?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, bad hearing.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
Can you back that up? You got some stats behind that? And then he'll go off on some tangent. When I was at Sydney, we played predominantly red jumper. It was very slow red, but it only won one flag.
I think you doing a two-hander sketch show where you're playing Fags and Ross like an odd couple pair.
And I'll bring in David King as well. He can be the wacky neighbour. Someone was saying that. I did the Raw Deal. Dom Fay and Michael Whiting from who writes for the AFL. They have a Brisbane podcast called The Raw Deal, and because I do these impersonations just to make Will laugh. I don't really consider myself a particularly talented impressionist, but Dom Fay I think is my biggest fan because I've done their podcast a couple of times, and he's like, "Oh, Charlie, you gotta. Can we speak to Ross Lyon? Can we speak to David King? Can we speak to?" And I'm like,
"That's so
these are not impressions that I work on practice." But he makes me think I could release a whole comedy album. And
you're the new 12th band.
I should do a sportsman's night. I should just can you imagine?
I think this is a great idea.
Grand final week. I'm just going to do a whole bunch of sportsman's nights as David King. I can't really do impressions. I can do I can make a sound like each of the people, but I don't know. Like Kingy, it's all like it's just a big it's a big chest. Kingy, the Kingy's thing is he runs out of breath. He runs out of breath. He makes a big. He starts up high and then runs out of breath.
It's just not acceptable. He likes
Nah, Joey, I'm not. I don't know. But I'm not buying that, Joey.
Yeah.
Although we have talked a lot.
The head's sacrosanct. We gotta protect the head.
What do you think about David King and Kane Corns? Like, I do think they're a really great combo. I think it's actually they've been well teamed up, but they move into comedy now. As a professional comedian, Matt, you are perfectly poised to answer this question. Do you feel there is like it used to be 5% comedy, 95% buffhead sports chat? Now I feel like it's like 30% comedy, 70% buffhead sports chat. Like
They're
they do
turning down the hot
parody
takes.
songs and shit like that now.
I've missed all of this.
Oh yeah, no. Like I think, well, maybe we'll get you back on. You just have a, have a listen.
I'll have
tell
to have
me,
a listen.
because the
Who've
theory
they got?
has
They
been
might have a new producer, do they? They've got a
well, the
comedy
theory's been
producer.
floated on this podcast, and I've discussed this with quite a few guests, that David King became self-aware at some point. And his self-awareness is like, oh, I'm funny. I'm funny. So I'm just going to make a few more jokes. And so, but now it's been spoiled. Like it was much better when he was unaware that he was funny. But now that he knows he's funny and he tries to be funny, it's not funny.
Yeah, that can definitely happen. Yeah, the being aware of it will ruin something like that big time. What kind of things is he doing? Like, is he playing into?
They do parody songs.
He's become self-aware.
Yeah, I think Broden was going to sue at one point because they started doing like "We Didn't Start the Fire" like parody song.
Oh, that's fresh. But
they have like their in jokes. Like him and Kane had their in jokes. Like they'll make bets before a game. Like the whole thing was, Kingy, I want to have a beer until Kangas went 2 in a row, and then so that became a big thing. And now they love Sean Darcy from Freo. They call him Skinny Sean because I think Kane felt like he had to lose weight. He was looking too dark because Kane's big thing is like body shaming professional athletes. But I've actually come around on Kane. I couldn't stand him, but now that I see him for what he is, I understand the performance aspect of it. I'm like, okay, we need that.
He's
like
a pro troll.
You need a Red Simons. You need a hanging judge. You need the guy who's going to be a contrarian. And it's funny too, because I didn't really notice it until last year, because he would go Ross Lyon so hard. Like, Ross Lyon's got too many friends in the media. They're all protecting him. That's my Kane calls. But then he had Ross Lyon on Agenda Setters and he didn't say shit. Like, he just kept his mouth shut. He didn't ask him one tough question. I'm like, this is all just bullshit. This is all just performance. You don't believe anything you say.
That's funny. I don't know. I never really cared too much about it. Like, and the people who hate him are just keeping him in a job, really. Yeah, people vocally reacting to his stories, calling up to say that he's got no idea. It's like, yeah, you're just doing what he's designed to make you do. Yeah, that's right. He makes you think.
Now,
he makes you think, I don't like this guy. I don't mind him.
We've almost reached the end of the show, but I just do need
time for a pocket profile.
No, we don't have time for a pocket profile, but I do need to check. Have you spoken to Goxie lately?
Oh,
and is he okay? Because
he does.
He's been an on and off member of our Saints chat, but he failed to adhere to the rules, which is like, this is a safe space. We get enough shit from the media with people coming in and trashing the Saints, and so he was warned a couple of times, and he voluntarily checked himself out. Goxie's always welcome back in the chat, by the way. I didn't ban him. He chose to remove himself. But there was a point last year, early into the season, when things weren't going so well, where he's having a bit of a meltdown. And I just had to remind him, hey, mate, look, we just want this to be a safe space for everyone. And so he volunteered. Have you spoken to him? Is he okay? How's he seen the season so far?
He's good. I mean, I think that was that before he had a little moment in the cricket.
Way before
shut
that.
Down. Yeah. So he's still out. I think since then he's won a boxing match.
Yeah, he was
a
used in Channel 7's preseason, like to promote the season on Channel 7. He was used in that ad as well.
the other day he posted a photo with King Wally Lewis and a few other Queensland greats.
Oh, because he's doing that. He's in that ad for the Queen. There's a Queensland beer company that he's the face of.
Right.
Well, not the
Yeah.
face of, but one of the faces of.
He's doing great. I feel like maybe did he get married recently? I think he's got a lot going on. But
Hey, be quiet.
we talk a bit, and he's definitely.
Hang on, sorry, 1 sec. I'm just going to discipline my dog. Come here, you bastard. Go out. Want to bark? Back outside. Sorry, my dog Rosebud. She normally sits in the basket behind me while I'm recording, but she's been very.
Is that
cranky today.
an acting reference?
What,
Like
Rosebud? As in Citizen Kane?
Yeah,
No. It's comes down to the fact that my 6-year-old daughter got to name the dog.
Okay. And she
Makes
loves
no
Citizen
sense.
Kane.
My vote was for Shadow. I got overruled.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm guessing what ironic? It's a yellow lab or something.
No, she's a jet black cavoodle, and I thought Shadow is a cool name.
Yeah.
But having said that, now she's 2 years old, I think a better name for her would be bloody Snoozy, because this dog sleeps all the goddamn time. Like
That's my
all
kind
she
of
does
dog.
is sleep.
That is my kind of dog. Yeah. So I think Goxie, we do message every now and then, and yeah, he's good, but he does, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he gets into negative spirals, I think, with the Saints. Like he was really, I think around that time it was just after Membry left.
Yeah, he was big, man.
And he was
big on
big
memories.
on Memory would have been handy this week.
Yeah.
What were we thinking getting rid of Memory? And I love Memory. He's my favourite player.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the kiss of death for a Saints player.
When you love them.
When I love them, they'll either,
Who's your
retire.
current favourite Saints player? Don't say Max Hall. I can't.
He'd be close, but no, I think Stocker.
Oh yeah, love Stocks.
Love Stocker. So yeah, sorry to do that to you.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's going to have a season. Oh, I mean, he missed this week from concussion, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love him.
I saw
bizarre that he wasn't playing in the early rounds.
I saw Goxie. I often my only interactions with him these days are when he pops up in the comments on an article like that that's been posted by the AFL, and so. A few days ago, when that exchange between the South Australian Premier and Andrew Pridham about St Kilda being shit came up, Goxie was the first to comment, saying to Pridham, "At least we didn't have to move our club from South Melbourne." I was like, Goxie, that's the kind of fire we need, our Saints supporters.
He's doing the work in the comments. I would love to know how many comments on Facebook posts he's done. It would be in the millions, I reckon.
All right. On that note, you're doing comedy festival shows. This will be coming out today. So,
oh yeah, great.
You're not doing. I noticed you're not doing your whatever the Saints win by discount this year.
I did. Well, I did do it for the Melbourne game.
Oh, did you?
And I thought because I really thought that I was reverse jinxing us.
Yeah.
Like it was costing me money, but it was getting us a win. And when it didn't work for the Demons game, I've sort of shelved it. But yeah, got 1 week left of doing a show with Soren Jayamana at Cooper's Inn, which is very handy because it's a big footy pub as well, and they got the footy on the big screen. So we finished our show sort of halfway through the first quarter last night, and was able to just go over to the sports bar and watch the rest of it, and then maybe celebrate a little too hard. There were only 2 other Saints supporters there, and they were both by themselves, and we grouped up for the last quarter, and started getting a few high fives going around, which was nice.
How were you going in the third though? Were you stressed?
Yeah. I'm like, and yeah, I think I was annoying the neutrals with my negativity. I'm like, I can't believe it's happening again.
You know what,
Why?
though? Once my BPMs returned to normal resting level and the adrenaline drained out of my body, and I could actually sort of, I heard Nick Del Santo talking in his post-game analysis where he said, you know what, this is actually a step forward because the club has been in winning positions in every game this year, even against Brisbane in the last quarter, and then has failed to execute. And we did it this time. So maybe it's a step forward.
I think that's true. Even the other win, it was really like if there was another minute on the clock, which perhaps there should have been, that they were every chance of taking us down. Whereas this one, we sort of
put our foot down.
Yeah.
And a couple of
they got that cheap one last, but
couple of
Oh,
massive
yeah.
blunders and a very helpful 50-meter penalty.
Yes, we were, which was a big blunder in itself. But yeah, the umpires did seem to look after us a bit, which was a nice change as well.
So nice, isn't it? That's
It
what
is.
it must be like going for Hawthorn.
That's
Or
right.
Geelong.
Yeah, it's like, wait, hang on. They're going to be squaring this up soon, I'm sure. But no.
How is
Yeah,
that
so it
one
was-
where Wilkes ran back with the flight of the ball and just absolutely poleaxed Georgiades, like front on contact,
Mm.
like, and there's no free kick. I was like, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
What's going on here? Yeah, and then that umpire, does he need to be investigated? He reported for
Butters
bad
for-
language or something. And have you seen that the audio has gone missing apparently?
What? I
Like the
haven't. No,
umpire's
this is
mic.
breaking news.
Oh, yeah,
And now we
Apparently-
crossed to Matt Stewart with an update on the Zach Butters controversy.
So Butters said something. It was like the footage, you can see him standing right next to him. He's basically talking into the umpire's microphone.
And
But
the audio's gone
they
missing.
say, which makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know if this is the kind of
This is like the
podcast to do
Epstein thing all
conspiracy
over
theories.
again. There's 1 minute of video missing.
That's right. It's been redacted, that little bit of audio. But yeah, and he saw, did you see him in the interview after the game? He's like,
Yeah.
I just very politely asked a question. He's like, I'd love to hear what he heard. And I asked to talk to him after the game, and the umpire said, I don't want to talk to you.
I actually had a thought, and this is quite a dark thought. But because I watched, like everyone, the vision of, Ollie Wines and Zach Butters and then the free kick getting paid and them looking completely baffled. And in my head, I'm like, what if this is the first moment this umpire realizes he has like some kind of mental illness where he's hearing voices? Like, like a voice in his head said something really abusive.
Yeah.
And he's just
everyone
assuming it was
around's
one of the
like,
players. But then on the drive home, there's like, you're still a dickhead. It's like, oh my God.
Ollie? Who's there? Zach? It was so funny how Butters put it, though. He goes, I just wanted to talk to him, like two humans might.
I know Zach Butters, who seems like the biggest psycho, white line fever on the field. He
Yeah.
just wants to have just a balanced, rational discussion.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on, mate.
It's
all
going to
right.
be interesting. I don't know how you deal with that. when it's-
The AFL's a real pickle, especially off the back of the Lance Collard thing, which is another case of like he said.
Yeah.
And they've made a decision on that based on the evidence. Well, you've got two players there who's saying we didn't say it, but you've got one umpire who's like he did say it, and oh, by the way, I've lost the audio. So the AFL now, they set up, like, who would have thought when they made that decision last week that they would immediately be held to the same standards?
Yeah.
Not even
that's
4
right.
days later. And it's like, well, you've got to adjudicate on this as well. They
It
would love
really-
to let
it's-
this one go through to the keeper, I bet, but they just
Yes.
can't.
Yeah, totally. It feels like a cop who forgot to turn the body cam on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, certainly everything was above board, though.
Yeah, he definitely swore at me, and if you check his pockets, there's some crack in there as well.
yeah, that's right.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for joining this show. People, go check out Matt's show. I'll put a link in the episode description. And look, we don't get to say this very often on Two Guys, One Cup, but go Saints.
Go Saints.
Play on,
man,
not
so
15.
pumped. Holding the ball.
Little footy-loving dickheads, dreaming about a Premiership Cup. We love our clubs, but they never win. 2 flags in 100 years. The shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it. We are 2 guys.